Again, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. My name is Nayeta Mo. I'm the graduate administrator for the MECE, so Master of Electrical and Computer Engineering program here at Rice University in Houston, Texas. So we look forward to helping you get to know a little bit about our program this morning. I have a couple of our rockstar professors on our meeting this morning, as well as Augustina, who works with our professional master's programs here in our School of Engineering. So welcome. We have a lot of great information for you all today. And also there's going to be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end. But if you have a question at any point, you're more than welcome to send the question to us, and we'll be happy to answer it as we go through our presentation this morning. So welcome. My role here in our department is basically to take care of you outside of the classroom. So if there's anything that you need to take care of, like getting registered for your classes, even all the way through to graduation and getting all that paperwork taken care of and everything in between. And so I try my best to make sure that you stay on time, make sure you meet all your deadlines, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to be your go-to person pretty much from now all the way through, should you decide to join the program. So I look forward to getting to know you as well as serving you. I've been in higher education for quite a number of years now, and I love it. I love helping students and watching you all transition to whatever it is that you're going to become after these programs are done. So I'll stop talking because I can go on and on, but I'll pass it to Dr. Mike Orchard and let him introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Orchard, and I'm the director of the Masters in Electrical and Computer Engineering. And we've really worked quite diligently over the last few years to make a program that we're really proud of. In fact, we're proud of it because of what we're going to do with incoming people who enter the program and who they're going to become. We've made our program, as you'll see, and Joe will take the lead in describing the various details of the program. But we made the program very much focused on getting a strong foundation in the underlying areas of graduate studies in electrical engineering, and then getting you into programs where you're actually doing things, you're meeting people, you're interfacing with industry and things like that. And so we're really excited about explaining all that to you. And I will pass it off to Joe.
Yeah, so my name is Joe Young. I'm an assistant teaching professor here at Rice in electrical and computer engineering. And so I oversee the Capstone Projects, which we'll describe a little bit more in the presentation. But basically, it's going to be a year-long project that you really get to apply skills to something. You're getting practical experience. You actually would complete some sort of finished product, whether that's an algorithm, maybe a particular analysis of medical data, for example, or an actual physical entity. So maybe you build, a wild amplifier design, which is actually something we're working on right now. So that's the basic idea of capstones. I oversee those. I also generally advise master's students. So you'll get to see me a lot if you join our program. So now we have a video from our department chair, who is Dr. Ashu Sabharwal.
Hello, my name is Ashu Sabharwal, and as the department chair in ECE, I wanted to welcome all students attending the webinar today. We are very excited that you are considering Rice for your professional master's degree. Rice ECE is one of the most innovative departments in the US. In fact, the raw numbers prove it so. We rank 1 in the US in funding per faculty and top 3 in citations and awards per faculty. Our students are famous for innovations and their leadership. The department has expertise in multiple broad research areas, with the latest initiative being quantum engineering. We firmly believe in blurring the boundaries between education and research. This shows up across all our curricular design. With that in mind, we are especially excited. We have totally reimagined what a professional master's degree should be like. The revised curricula in the professional master's degree allows you to specialize in specific areas: computer engineering, wireless, or data science. Each of these areas were carefully chosen because of the major industry demand in these areas. We designed the new degree program so you can learn deeply about the fundamentals of these areas while gaining advanced project experience. Again, we hope you will take a closer look at RISE MECE program, and we'll look forward to welcoming you to the department.
Wonderful. Thank you, Aki, for playing that. Tina, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, well, welcome everyone. My name is Agustina Fernandez Moya, and I'm the director for the Professional Masters at the School of Engineering. What our office does, we are responsible for community building. So we have socials for the students to not only mingle students within the departments, but also with other departments. We have this semester have more than 300 students from the professional masters from the different programs. We also take care of the professional development. Once a month, we have a speaker from the corporate world come to talk to you about professional development topics. And these are great opportunities for you to network. I think networking is very important when you want to look for a job. And talking about jobs, before coming to RISE, during the summer, we provide you with a professional development course, a career development course, where you can learn how to communicate on the business environment, polish your resume, activate LinkedIn account, connect with RISE network. So once you're here at RISE, you're already prepared for your job search, because RISE has different opportunities for you to engage when looking for a job. We have job fairs twice a year. We have corporations coming, providing you with info sessions so you can learn more about it. And another thing we have is our EPMP, as we call Engineering Professional Masters Program, Board of Affiliates. We have members from the corporate world that advise us on curriculum, but also help mentor students. And those are great opportunities for you to interact with them. We have great successful stories after students have interacted with board members, had got into internships and also full-time jobs. So we really believe on networking, on getting students together. And what I love about RISE is not only about the academic aspect Joe is going to talk about, but also the different resources you can take advantage at RISE. We have the RISE Center for Engineering Leadership, where you can take leadership lessons, certificates, and we have the Center for Entrepreneurship. It's the Lilly Lab, where you can learn about entrepreneurship. And also we have the Door Institute for New Leaders, where you can take advantage of coaching lessons so you can better express yourself and communicate. And there are a lot of resources. So Nayera also will help you with all the information, but we are so happy to show you about RISE. And look, we have different pictures of our beautiful campus you will also enjoy. And just one thing that I love about RISE is that very diverse and inclusive, and it feels like home. So that's a great thing about it. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can just chime in there, Augustina and her team are amazing, and they will make sure that there's a variety of different events and, career type events for you all. And what I would say is, you definitely want to take advantage of that from the very start. They're going to give you that course during the summer, should you join with us. And then we'll be off and running from the time that you start with a multitude of different events. And so that is definitely one thing I would say. Don't wait until the last minute or the last semester and then like, oh, where am I going to work now? You want to get started with that from the very start. And her team, they're amazing at what they do, and they're going to make sure you have a lot of different types of opportunities. So thank you so much, Tina.
Yeah, thank you, Tina. So I'm going to go ahead and get our slides started. So I just have a few slides on our a few different aspects of our program. Okay, let me know if you can't see the slides. That's always a great fear. And I do want to add that, yeah, I mean, right, like it was said, Rice is a beautiful campus. The picture that I'm using as a virtual background is actually a location on campus. And so it's really beautiful. And there are a lot of different, resources on campus in terms of support from people. So we have the Rice Graduate Student Association, which is the GSA for short. And so this is run by students, and it's an organization that puts on a ton of different events. And they actually help host different cultural events. So there's an Indian Student Association, and there's always a couple of large events that they and other organizations host during the year with the help of the GSA. So a lot of fun activities on campus. Okay, so we need to get a little detail out of the way, which is that historically the program was called the Masters of Electrical Engineering. Now, it's not that, this past year, oh, okay, we're going to include computer engineering. We haven't done any computer engineering. That's not the case. Computer engineering really has been a core part of the program, always. So really just moving from MEE to MECE is just a name change, and it's a more appropriate name for the program. Here we have a fun picture of the R1 computer. It was the Rice Institute computer. It was actually before Rice changed its name to Rice University. And so this, apparently when it was fully online in 1961, it was the fastest university computer. Now, many things have happened over the years at Rice in terms of computer engineering. And so one of the more recent advances that was really fun was the construction of this prototype base station, which is what you're seeing on the right. And so that actually has 96 antennas. And there's, there's 24 boards that are powering those antennas. So each board can power 4 antennas. And this board has an FPGA. It's a computer engineer's dream in some sense. And so it's a really cool intersection of Rice's strong wireless communications abilities and also our computer engineering capabilities. Very cool project. Yeah, so just want to make that clear that ECE is a very broad program at Rice. And to speak to that with just a couple of interesting projects that are going on at Rice, that I just want to point out some examples. We have one professor, Dr. Edward Knightley, who's working on autonomous drones. And so they're actually putting together drones with open source software, modifying the software, trying to do what they would call missions. And so they actually measure, say, emissions in areas, communities that might be adversely affected by industrial activities nearby, and effectively trying to check air quality. But there's so much you can do in this space. And we actually want to do some work with you all in the autonomous drones space. Now, we also have Dr. Ginevra Allen, who's more on the data science side. She actually has this, it's almost like an initiative, but formally it's titled a lab. And so it's the Data to Knowledge Lab, D2K for short. And she collaborates with a ton of different organizations to try to use data science to solve real world problems. And you may not know, we have the Med Center nearby, which is the largest medical center in the world. And so from a data science perspective, it could be viewed as a data factory. And so they've done work on looking at irregular heart rhythms, and can we use machine learning to detect beats that are problematic? That's the kind of things that are being looked at in D2K. So then, to look at yet another prong of ECE at Rice, we have Dr. Yin-Yang Lin, who works on embedded machine learning. And so what that title really means is that we're looking at efficient hardware implementations of machine learning. And so, this is a booming area, and I think it's kind of her aspect of it is kind of a niche part that's really interesting. And when I say niche, I mean that, we don't have a ton of people who have this particular expertise in the world. And so it's a really interesting project. And we also want to have master's students working there. So then finally, going even farther, into the spectrum of ECE, we have Dr. Ashok Varera-Gavin, who works on, among other things, computer vision. And so what you're seeing there is a picture of a device which is a lensless imaging system. So normally you have a lens that focuses the light in a particular way onto your imaging sensor, but they've done something you can notice that's very flat. And so what's going on there is they just have a simple mask, effectively, something flat over the imaging sensor. And so you're trying to do basically a software-defined lens. So it's a very interesting, part of the research going on in our department. Okay, so now to speak more specifically to the MECE, there's a couple of different parts of it that we think you will experience while you're here and ultimately walk away with to your amazing career. And so we want you to have kind of this, deep engineering theoretical knowledge from your classes. With the capstone experience, which you'll see more on soon, we want you to have applied these skills that or effectively applied the theory, really have practical experience trying to implement different aspects of the theory. And so we want you to be a master presenter so that you can communicate these amazing things you've done, whether it's to people at your future company or wherever you may go, but also to employers before you get there. So you can, in the interview, you can really attract offers. And so the real goal is that with the capstone, you'd be able to actually describe this whole project to an employer and say, I built this entire system from the ground up. And if it's a chip or some sort of embedded device, you may even be able to have it in your pocket and pull it out in the interview and describe aspects of it. So that's where we see all of this going for you. Now, Mike, I didn't know if you wanted to speak a little bit to the curriculum and the areas of.
Sure, I could talk about this. In moving towards the objective that Joe was just describing, which is to put out masters of electrical and computer engineering who go out into the world and have successful careers in today's topics and in future topics. We restructure the curriculum. Our department chair in his little presentation referenced this, that we've recently changed the curriculum quite a bit. Our previous curriculum was more like the curriculum that most other programs around the country and the world have, and that is it's just basically an organization of courses that cover all the various areas and give you some choice in selecting topics in electrical engineering. And typically it runs from 1.5 to 2 semesters to 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years of study in a typical master's program, as I'm sure you know from other places you might be considering. In our reformulation, we really focused on the right side here. We started saying we want to put out a person that is this type of person. And what is that? It's a person that has sound foundations in the principles and the theories and the abstract concepts of electrical engineering at a graduate level. So we want it to be distinctly different than that of an undergraduate. But we don't want someone who just has taken the courses and perhaps even done well in the courses. We want people who can showcase their principled command of electrical engineering topics in the development of actual products. And the theme of kind of highlighting the role of the products that we would develop is something that really runs throughout our program. We want you individually, each of you, to be able to go and say, here, I built this, and I could talk about the inner workings of this and show how it really showcases my command of electrical engineering. But even more than that, we want our program to be a program that has a reputation, that over the years, for some potential employer who just knows that you came from Rice, we want that person, that potential employer to know, and to know from reputation, that Rice has put out students that just routinely show that they can make products. They show that they can make products in their careers afterwards, but actually they show when they come out and they have interviews that over the years I've seen the employer will have seen various products that will have come out and will have been impressed by that. So our goal is that this not only affect you individually, each one of you, but that in the end, it affects the program. The program has a reputation of putting out the kind of people that we would like to call Rice graduated masters in electrical and computer engineering. And then ultimately you as individual members of our community will benefit from that reputation that we all share. And so in doing that, the first thing to the left of our graduate is the capstone. We really want the capstone to be the highlight of what you do here on campus here. And then we ask ourselves, what are the things that really are needed for a capstone? And by the way, for the specifics of the capstone, I'll be talking more about it in a second, and Joe will be talking about details of different capstones. But the things that go into a successful capstone first are the foundation. So on all the way to the left, we have a foundation course. For every capstone area that we're going to support, there is one course that has to be taken in the first semester to get you ready, basically, with the graduate level command of the principals involved in projects in that capstone. In addition to that, there will be a specialization. So down to the left, there will be courses that are usually taken in a sequence that build you up to a high level of proficiency and a high level of command of a particular area of electrical engineering that will be the subject matter of the capstone. And I'll note that the capstone and the specialization can be related. You can have a specialization in computer engineering where the ultimate goal is, let's say, the architecture of a particular chip or something like that. And the capstone will be the making of that chip. And so they could be very tightly coupled. On the other hand, you could have perhaps like a specialization in neuroengineering where the goal is to involve and to get yourself involved in, let's say, some research in gathering data from the neural activities of the brain, let's say, and your capstone might be building a chip that actually is involved in communicating the data from the brain to some processor outside. So that would be an example where the capstone is a capstone that's in the computer engineering area, but it's actually servicing a specialization that is your specialization, something that you're interested in. So you're going to have the option of choosing a capstone, where is the actual development going to take place, and then choosing a specialization, what is the topical area in electrical engineering that you want to master. And then in support of all of that, we also have electives. You're going to have 2 courses that you're going to choose as electives, and this provides you an opportunity to supplement your command of a specific area if you want, or to combine that with some other area perhaps that you always wanted to be able to get some background in and things like that. So the electives are things you'll choose in conjunction with your advisor. It's probably going to be either Joe or myself, and it provides another 2 courses in your curriculum. There's also 2 courses that we've devoted to software development. We think it's important that people leaving our program be very proficient at software tools, and which software tools will depend on what your goals are in the future. So this is something you'll choose in conjunction with your advisor. And finally, there will be one course that's a communications course, and this is going to be adaptive to your particular situation, but it will cover things like presentations, like writing project proposals for work that you're going to want to use to convince your boss or your higher up, or maybe some funding agency to put funding in and to commit to get vested in your project and you as an engineer later in life and things like that. So this is the overview of the curriculum, and there are courses that go with each one of those. We'll look at the next slide. This just defines the specialization areas. The specialization areas really are defined by our faculty, because these are the types of specializations we want to support are specialized areas or focus areas in electrical engineering that we represent here at Rice University. So for example, there's nothing here in power, let's say in engineering, power electronics, because there's no faculty here at Rice that does work on I don't know, power distribution or power transmission, things like that. So the main areas are computer engineering. Joe talked about that. Data science is a big one with our D2K lab, the data to knowledge lab. Photonics, electronics, and nano devices. We have a very strong group of faculty in that area. We call it PEN. Neuroengineering is a newer focus area in the last decade that we've developed, and we have a lot of strength there with new hires, very important activities that are the project research activities that are being done in conjunction with, some of them in conjunction with the medical center here in Houston, and others too. And then the systems area. Systems is rather big. It includes the wireless, but also includes signal processing, image processing, and all those different areas for which faculty here in our department have research specialization areas. All of them are open for specialization, to choose as a specialization.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mike. So yeah, and I'll just to mention, I have a lot of interaction with folks in the neuroengineering initiative, and as Mike said, this is quite new, but it's really getting off to a strong start. And it wasn't quite a $50 million initiative; it was $49.5 million. I would say that's pretty significant, and we've hired faculty in that area over the past few years, and so it's really exciting to get see that kick off. And there's a lot of intersection between that specialization and other specializations, whether it's processing signals from the brain, building recording systems, doing wireless with those systems, a lot of potential there. Now, to speak more specifically to the Capstone projects, which I oversee. So these are really the core of the MECE program as we see it. And so again, it's an opportunity to really put what you've learned into practice, and actually get to encounter the problems that happen when you try to build something. Because you can see the equations, you can read the textbook, see the theory, but then of course, once you actually try to build it, you end up having to debug a lot. You learn a lot of different things that you would have never known had it not been for this kind of project. And so ultimately, it'll result in some sort of finished product, which you can be proud of and talk to employers about. Now, more specifically the structure, which Mike talked some about, but just as a quick recap, you have this foundations course, which is just one course that kind of serves as like the baseline level of knowledge for the capstone project you'll work on. So if you were going to do wireless communications for your capstone, there would be a course that corresponds to that as your foundations. So maybe you'd be implementing different things on a particular board that's designed for wireless experimentation. And then the capstone itself, it's 2 semesters. We ultimately will have some sort of competition at the end where you're presenting your projects and trying to outdo each other. And we plan to have both faculty and industry folks on that panel. So that's the basic structure. Now, I do want to mention, I do oversee all projects, but for data science, generally you're working with Dr. Ginevra Allen, who I introduced earlier at the D2K lab. And so they have this wonderful course set up where they're basically getting projects from other organizations, and you work on a team to address these problems that the organizations need help on. And so then if you're doing something more in the realm of wireless communications, computer engineering, then I will have more direct interaction with you on that project. And we tend to collaborate with our amazing faculty on those projects. There's, of course, number for this, it's Elect 594. And so that's even more detail on this structure. Now, these are just some of the areas that I see as interesting as places for potential for master's capstone projects. So if you don't see your favorite area on here, that's okay. I want to explore a lot of different areas, and that's why there's the 3 dots on the right there. And so if you have a different idea, that's, you can insert your circle there. And I'd love to talk about that. So, but yeah, just kind of broadly, I think some sort of next generation AR, VR experience would be really interesting, augmented reality, virtual reality. And I'll actually describe a project that we're working on currently in that area with a couple of master's students. And then embedded machine learning, you saw earlier with Dr. Lin's work. And then autonomous systems as a whole, I think are very interesting, whether it's drones or vehicles. There's a lot we could do in terms of producing open source projects, innovating in the hardware space for microcontrollers that are involved in, say, flight control or power management on these systems. So very interesting. Now, to speak specifically to that first one, on the left, we have this 0.1 closed loop Class D amp. And the short story is that I'm working currently with 2 master students and Dr. Than Tran to develop a special form of this amplifier. So you may not know what a Class D amplifier is, and that's fine. But I just want to impress upon you that we're getting to actually design printed circuit boards. For this project, we're looking at different circuit designs for addressing particular problems in this space. We're trying to implement a feedback controller. And so it's something that would increase the efficiency of the system. Basically, if you start to have clipping at your audio output, so you effectively need more power, then we kind of temporarily turn on a higher power rail. And so then you can shut off the higher power when you don't need it, and this increases the efficiency of the system. And then I just have, for fun, 2 other areas here that I see as potential growth areas where you could come in. And so things like 3D sound, trying to do interesting things with placing an artificial location for a source, despite only having, 2 speakers on your head. And then also stuff about head tracking, whether it's through cameras or sensors in a headset that you're wearing. I think there's a lot that can be done there as well. Okay. Now, while you're doing all of this, while you're here in the MECE program, we want to make it clear that you're not going to be doing this on your own. You're not going to be, financially left in the dark. So you've already seen the 3 of us that I'm showing here. And of course, there's TA opportunities that could be available on campus. And so that could help cover some expenses. And then most students do an internship after their first year, that summer after the first year. And so that, of course, would provide you with financial help as well, apart from the experience of it. Now, I want to put our contact information up here. Please feel free to reach out to any of us individually with any questions you have. And Nayeta is going to speak a little bit about the classroom experience at Rice.
Yeah, so I definitely want to touch on that, as well as a few other things that you all may be wondering about. As we go through the remainder of this month and the top of next month, we're also going to be hosting other webinars such as this to talk about different topics. You'll have opportunity through Augustina's group to have a conversation with our dean in the School of Engineering, as well as some other activities that they have planned for you all. And we're also going to go into other topics as well. So I just want to encourage you all to check your emails and just make sure you're in the know of what's going on, because it is definitely our goal to make sure you have as much information as you need to help you make a decision. I've had my own educational experiences, and sometimes you have a lot of different choices. We understand that. And so we want to equip you with the most information that we can, help you get to know us and what we love to do and why we love to serve you, so that could help you make a better decision about your future and your education. So I definitely want to say that. I know you all have my email address because I've sent you probably a billion emails already. So that's good. Thank you all for checking those. And I've been getting some really awesome questions. So keep those questions coming. It doesn't matter what they are. If I don't know the answer, I'll make sure to get you to the person or the department that you need to speak to so that they can help you. As far as the classroom experience, I get the question all the time, how many students are you admitting to the program and this? And, I will say this, it is important for us that you have the opportunity to get to know your faculty members on a one-on-one basis, to get to know your classmates on a one-on-one basis. And so, of course, being Rice University, a world-class institution, we can probably admit, everybody, you know, we can have a huge number of admits and do all of that, but we want to make sure that we're focused on you. We don't want you to ever feel like you're just a number in the classroom and you're just going through the motions. We want you to have a wonderful experience, and we want you to walk away with all the tools and knowledge that you need to go off and do whatever it is that you want to do out there in the world. And so I think, you know, for sure, you will notice very quickly that you'll form a relationship with Dr. Young and Dr. Orchard. They're going to be advising you, making sure you stay on track to completing your degree. We have the program set for 3 semesters. So you're in here, trust me, it moves very quickly. So that's why I was saying earlier, make sure with the career management piece of this, you stay on top of it just as you are with the academic part of it, because it's going to move rather quickly. So that's really what I want to say about the classroom experience. I'm not really sure where all of your undergrad experiences have been everywhere all over the world. You know, I grew up in really small schools before I came to college, and it was like, whoa, when I actually got in college. And so, you know, you'll notice that Rice it's very small, and we take a small number of students for a reason, and we want you to make sure you have the best experience possible. Another thing, you know, of course, and I won't go too deep into this, because you all should be receiving emails from other departments, like the housing department, our graduate school office. You should be receiving emails from them about all the different things that we need you to know. So of course, housing is one of them. You're going to be accepting the offer of admissions. We have on-campus housing options for you to choose from, but we also have a wonderful website set up for those who are possibly looking to stay off campus to kind of assist you with finding an apartment. The city of Houston is huge. We're the 4th largest city in the country, very diverse city. As Joe may have said, I think we have somewhere around 140 some odd languages spoken here in the city of Houston. And that's really cool, because I mean, you can feel like you're anywhere in the world, just, you know, kind of going up the street and around the corner. So it's an awesome thing. And also the university reflects that. And so if you feel like I don't want to do the on-campus thing, that is okay. We do have options. There are options out there in the city, and we do our best to assist you with that. So you should have received an email from the housing department on March the 1st. And there's a lot of links to the on-campus housing with videos, as well as the off-campus options that you can particularly choose from. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And then of course, a big elephant in the room, right? COVID-19. I think today marked a year that all of our lives changed, for sure here in America. And so we've been working through it. We've learned a lot of things. And so I want to let you know that our first priority is your safety. And so if you are going to be here in the university, there's a lot of different measures and things in place, from testing to vaccines and all of this good stuff. And so that information will also be shared with you, because it's a scary thing, right? Even for us, you know, just trying to navigate through all this and figure it out, much less if you're on the other side of the world and you're trying to figure out if you want to come here or not. We totally understand, and we want to make sure that you have all that information, even for your parents as well. If you're like me, my parents definitely wanted to know what was going on. Like, if I'm going to send my child across the world, I better make sure they better be safe over there. And so that is our #1 priority. So if anybody has any questions about that, I will make sure that you all have the information that you need to stay abreast on what's happening within the university community. As far as that's concerned, we have a whole website that's dedicated simply to that. And you can see numbers, how many people are being tested on campus per day, and all this other good stuff. If there's any information related to, if you need to get your I-20s and go through that whole process, our OISS office is also going to be emailing you information about that. I've had students who are already here in the States, or international students, and they just want to transfer. We can take care of all of that. So if you have a unique situation, please let me know so that I can get you in touch with the OISS office, so you can figure out now what it is that you need to do. You all are the boots on the ground where you are, so you know if your embassy is going to be open, you know what's going on with that. Please communicate to me if you like, well, Ms. Nayeta, I don't know if I'll be able to actually make it on campus in the fall. We do have options. We did virtual this year, and we had some students join and start the program virtually, and they did just fine. So I think to each his or her own. Just let us know what your situation is. And if you have any worries or concerns, please let us know so that we can get you the information you need, again, so that you can make the best decision for you. And, you know, that's our top priority. And that's what I care about most, whatever's best for you. Okay. So I think we have some questions here in the chat box, don't we, Joe? No, not yet. No,
yeah, I don't think.
No,
Like, oh, have I missed? Yeah.
Nayeta, I just want to add, as you were saying that we were going to host webinars with the dean, we are also going to invite the Office of International Students and Scholars to update the students on what's going on around the world and everything. So those will be great opportunities for them to ask questions and being informed.
Awesome. Yeah, and those are going to be in next month, correct, Augustina?
Yes, we will send you the information for you to send that to them.
Good deal. So we wanted to make sure we you know, definitely touch on the curriculum and kind of get you an understanding of how the actual wheels of the program is going to work. And then we're going to keep moving through some of these other particular pieces of the program as the month goes on. So we'll have a lot of information coming your way. And again, if there's anything that we need from you, definitely let us know. Joe,
Nayeta, there's a question here in the question and answers.
Okay.
Somebody has asked, are graduate classes in the evening or morning? And I can tell you that graduate classes typically are through the center of the day. They start from the morning till the afternoon, like normal undergraduate classes. But in this past year with the online support, I know personally for my class, and I know many other classes, there have been mechanisms to support people taking it remotely, taking our courses remotely, let's say from India or China. I know I have office hours. I have special sessions dedicated to people who are taking it in other time zones, so to accommodate that. But in general, here on campus, the normal convention is our graduate classes are at times that are just like undergraduate classes. And typically, if you start offering them too early, students complain. They have to wake up too early, and generally they finish by 4 or 5. Is that right, Joe? I guess there are some courses some lab courses that go into the evening, right?
Yeah, I've been involved in scheduling this semester, and it seems that prime time is like 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's when the bulk of classes are. But yeah, then you can have ones that, you know, are a little bit before and after, some going significantly after, but yeah, that would probably be for lab classes. That would be those cases.
Yeah, and if I can chime in, there's also a course that all of our graduate students have to take each semester. For my MECE students, it's ELEC 698. It's a seminar class where you would have to attend 3 seminar type talks, and then, you know, let us know what you learned from those basically. And, you know, those are, again, during normal times throughout the day. But what I did for the last 2 semesters for my students on the other side of the world is said, hey, don't worry about it. They're all being recorded. And so we allowed them the opportunity to watch those and report back to us when it was convenient for them. So if there is any opportunities where we can do that, we most definitely will, because I do understand that, you know, it's a huge time difference, and you know, I will probably be sleeping dead asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's probably like you are. So, you know, we try to do our best wherever we can to accommodate our students, you know, that are not inside of the city limits or inside of the US.
Joe, do you want to take the next one on TA ships?
Yeah. Yeah. So the TA ships, it's generally 5 to 6 hours per week. So it's not a massive time commitment. It's not 40 hours per week. And the rate is $10 per hour. So yeah, So, I mean, yeah, a ballpark figure for that would be about $750 a semester if you were to take all those averages. So there could, of course, there could be variance to that, but maybe it's helpful to mention that ballpark number.
Okay.
And
The
then,
next two questions seem to be about about online or offline in the fall, and the next question is about the possibility of deferring due to COVID. So I suppose they're related. And then I guess the last one is asking if there will be in-person classes. So altogether we could say yes, yes, and yes, I guess. And what I mean by that is that we are planning to have in-person classes in the fall, but we recognize the uncertainties involved. And so all for the indefinite future, probably all in-person classes will accommodate offline participation. And that right now, courses are doing that this semester, and they will continue to do that. And so that will leave the choice of whether any individual student can make it on campus or not to be a personal choice. It's something that I would, once you decide to commit to Rice, you're part of the Rice family, and we'll be talking with you and Joe and I. It's particularly in terms of the curricular aspects. We'll chat up with you the various implications. There are reasons why certain activities really benefit from being here on campus, like the capstone and things like that. And so we'll talk to you about how your structure of what the courses that you take can be maybe aligned or moved around in ways to accommodate, let's say, when your planned arrival on campus. But that's good. I guess mostly an individual topic. Joe, anything else you want to share about?
Yeah, I'm teaching an embedded and mobile systems class this fall, which has like a focus on drones. And yeah, I mean, we fully intend to have in person, for that to be, I don't know if mostly in person is the right way to say it, but because yeah, we want you to be able to solder things. We want to be able to give you feedback on the circuit boards you're working with. Embedded systems benefits tremendously from in-person, and so that's the my intent for the fall. Now, there was a question about you for the form where you enter your preferred field concentration. Once enrolled, can we choose a different one? And yes, yeah, you can talk to Mike and I and figure out what path you want to take for your master's. That's fine. So yeah, there's no issues there. Maybe our presentation really swayed you on a certain area. That would be cool. Okay, and then tuition fee.
Also,
yeah.
I'll also I'll also note that it is our intention always to adapt to your interests, and it is our expectation that as you come here, in fact, it's routine both at the undergraduate level and the graduate level for us to get people starting in electrical engineering, either at the graduate level or the undergraduate level, with some idea about what electrical engineering is, and then to take courses and to develop a different idea. And that's, I think we'd all be very surprised if that weren't the case. Not that anyone was wrong initially, but just as you participate and as you become an expert in a certain area, your perspective changes. And in response to that changed perspective, oftentimes you want to perhaps make changes in what you had planned on doing, or what subfield specialty you wanted to do, or what you want your role to be in it. You initially had wanted to be more of a hands-on person, but as you get captivated by the theories, you may decide you want to be more on the system level architecting and more in an abstract role. All of these things are things we expect, we encourage actually. In fact, if we're doing our job, I think these things have to happen. And we are very much set of a mindset to accommodate those. And so for specific changes, I mean, if you started wanting to be, I don't know, a hardware guru, and you turn out you want to become a doctor. Some of these real remarkable changes might be challenging for us, but you can be assured that in Joe and I and all the people, actually Ashu too, the department chair, are all going to do at whatever we can to bring to bear the value of first, and I'm going to emphasize this. There's three things I think that really are the value that we want to recognize in why we think we can make a great Rice graduate. And one of them has got to be, I can't emphasize it anymore, that one of them is you. You are top students. We seek the applicants from the top universities, and you have been selected to be among them. So if it's sounding like we're making out of clay something, we failed to communicate. The first thing is you. You're all smart, and our goal here is to make you the smartest that you can be to make this 1.5 to 2 years experience at Rice the most effective as possible to bring you up to be as smart as you possibly can be. The second one is Rice and the people here at Rice. You have a really remarkable opportunity to spend 1.5 to 2 years with us. You'll become part of our family. You'll become part of our goals, and you'll benefit from that. And so that who we are and what our traditions are, what our strength is, part of your strength. And the final thing is the time, the effort that we put, the energy that we put in. And hopefully this webinar is communicated to you that we are really wanting to spend this time in as supportive a way for you as possible. Our curriculum was designed to support your goals and to support you and the quality of your experience here. All of our advising and all the questions to any question you might raise, the answer is always going to be in the direction of how to make this the most valuable experience for you. Anyway, I think I've said enough, but I think those are important things.
You hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah.
The question about the tuition, I don't know if we talked about that just yet. So whenever you received your offer letter, so whenever we let you know that you were admitted to the program, please refer back to that letter, because that letter addresses tuition and tuition and fees. So you just go back to your admissions letter where we say, congratulations, you're admitted. The information about tuition is going to be in that letter.
There's one question here about contacting professors for doing interesting research, as well as the possibility of maybe getting involved in the PhD program here. I'll just make a note that your admission is to the Masters of Electrical and Computer Engineering program. So right now, the activity you're in is related to that. But we have a long record. Actually, it seems like every year there are a few students who in fact have got involved. Well, I should say there are many students who get involved in faculty's research in one way or another. Some of them do internships over the summer where they're getting paid by the faculty for doing work in their research. Others do research through the semester and make it independent study type of things, and others, it ranges the gamut of various involvements. And among those, some of them, not all of them, but some of them actually end up writing papers, being authors on papers, just that are published for the research that they do. And for those people, two things are very common. One is that they may, in fact, apply for and get admitted into the PhD program after the graduate finishing the Masters of Electrical and Computer Engineering. And another one that I was surprised how often this happens, but it's quite often that the MECE students' relationship in that research gives them part of a share in the notoriety that paper has. So people at conferences ask about people in this field, and when they find that one of the authors is someone who actually is interested in a PhD program, they make offers to you. We've had people who have been recruited from Berkeley after finishing here to go and work in a lab in Berkeley, usually of a faculty at Berkeley who's doing the same kind of work that is being done by some other faculty here, and the person got connected by virtue of a paper that they might have written at a conference or something like that. So the opportunities for going on to PhD are very rich, and they basically start from the fact that you'll be here, you'll be in the midst of faculty. The faculty doing this research will be teaching you courses, and afterwards there'll be opportunities to get involved in their lab. And where that goes is up to you. I mean, that kind of is all we can say about the PhD possibilities. Yeah. Other questions that?
Let's see. Yeah, and if I can just add to that last point, if you're looking for recommendations for professors for certain areas, feel free to email me, and I can connect you with faculty. We actually, there's a professor who I mentioned earlier, Dr. Lin, who we hired a few years ago. And she's already published actually a few papers with master's students. They are co-authors on the papers. We also have another another professor who I've been talking to a lot, Dr. Kaiyuan Yang, and he's very interested to the possibility of like having master's students do some research with him. Okay. So yeah, these other
question
questions
about how many courses we generally take per semester. This is usually, so just to be aware, this is something that some of you may know or may not. It is often the case that undergraduates take 5 courses, either here at Rice or elsewhere, per semester. You should be aware that that is not the level of courses in graduate, and this is not just true about Rice, any place. Generally don't expect to take 5 courses per semester in a graduate program. The courses should be harder, they should be more challenging, they should be more engaging, and I generally advise people, don't, just because you did it in undergraduate, don't expect to do that in graduate. Typically, I think, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 or 4 courses a semester is a typical type of
that
load.
seems accurate. Yeah.
It's often the case. I'll just share with you some of the things. This is just things that are true about how people have functioned here at Rice in the master's program. It's often true that in the last semester, you may not want to have it planned for it to be a semester in which you're doing your most courses. And the reason is that you're also going to be wanting to be applying for jobs, going on interviews, things like this during that semester. And having an overload, an overwhelming set of obligations for your courses during that semester is not a good idea. So it's not uncommon for students to actually plan to have that last semester be a 1-course semester. So they oftentimes plan to take 9 courses. Our total curriculum consists of 10 courses that we need to take, 10 3-credit-hour courses or more. And oftentimes students plan to take 9 before a last semester. And then that last semester, they go part-time. When you go part-time, there's advantages in that the cost of a part-time semester is significantly less expensive than going full-time. And it provides you a semester to take the course, be active in doing that last course, and still have lots of time for looking for jobs, even traveling for interviews. Maybe in the post-COVID environment, there will be more possibilities of traveling, but that's not an uncommon. Don't take this as an advice or anything, but just from observing the way people have planned their time at Rice here, that's a pretty common type of schedule.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you guys brought up the CPT and OPT question, because I was actually going to address that. So students are eligible. That's going to be through the Office of OISS, or the Office of International Students and Scholars. Augustina, do you have any light you can shed on that?
Yes. And the great thing about it is that this is considered a STEM degree, obviously. So with the OPT, usually it's 1 year, but it can be extended up to 36 months. So this is a great opportunity for you to stay longer here and work. Yes, and CPT, as I said, the OISS department has a lot of information sessions to keep you updated and follow the different path you need to in order to get the CPT and then the OPT. So don't just the last minute, you need the CPT to work at an internship. And so it's better to follow up with the OISS, attend the webinars, the information sessions they have, and especially at the international, when the orientation week, they have a specific time allotted for them, for you to learn more about it and to get accustomed to what you have to do in order to get those. Yes, but as I said, in order to have this OPT and CPT, you need to have also a job opportunity. So as I said, from before even coming to Rice, we need to help you with that. And you have to also work on all the job tools for your job search.
If I could add something to that, because this is important and maybe something that some of you may not know, but it'd be valuable for you to know, and others may know and have concerns about this, is that there are regulations that, not Rice regulations, they're immigration regulations that restrict the CPT to students who have been here in the United States for some period of time. And because of that, the COVID situation, as well as immigration situation from our previous administration in Washington, D.C., have resulted in certain limitations of what type of internship activities people could do under CPT here in the United States, particularly for people coming from other countries. Let me just share with you first that these things are out of our control. Anything that is due to a global pandemic or anything that's due to political decisions made in Washington are not anything that we can tell you about, and also they're not. I mean, I think we would be irresponsible to be giving you any assurances or promises that, in fact, we are not in a position to affect those things. But the one thing I can give you a promise of is our intention as well as our record here, because this happened last year. Last year, there were many students who would have liked to participate in CPTs and were not able to. And these are not just masters of electrical and computer engineering. There are also bachelor students. There are lots of, in response to the COVID, lots of undergraduate students lost their internships, had been offered internships, but as the summer came, they were withdrawn from them. And I'll tell you what our response was here in the department. Ashu Soberwal, the department chair who you heard speak earlier, took the lead in organizing all of the research activities here in campus, as well as some involving the medical center, research projects in the medical center, and went around and did an accounting of all students, undergraduate and graduate, who had internship opportunities, but that fell through, and saw to it that they were replaced by internship opportunities here on campus in research groups and various things that are of interest to them. These were paid internships on campus. You do not need CPT if you're working on campus paid by Rice. You don't need CPT to support that, to do those things. So I'm just raising this as an opportunity. Once you accept here as the MECE program, you are part of the Rice family. And as part of the Rice family, what will click in are things that I can't promise at this point, because I mean, these are things that were in response to other events out of our control. But what you can count on is that all the resources of the Rice family will be at your disposal and will be looking out for your benefit. And in the past, they have really got targeted exactly what's important to everybody. Everybody, after, let's say, a full year of study, want to engage in captivating, stimulating activities, internships that allow them to use the things and gain practical experience. And we as a faculty and our department, led by our department chair, have just kind of looked at all of the resources that we have, including NSF funding for opportunities like this, where it's applicable, or other kind of funding, and make it available for you and for so I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Mike, as you were talking about the Rice family, Rice University has their own LinkedIn site that it's called Sally Portal, where all members of the Rice community, faculty, staff, alumni, friends of Rice, get together on that site, and they can be mentors, you network, and we have successful stories, because that's our own like LinkedIn site where we can connect with all the Rice affiliates. So that's another great opportunity to network and be mentored.
There's one question that's been hanging up there. Does this program encourage students to go on to PhD path? Are there chances for further PhD study? So I think we addressed the chances. So as I mentioned, there are always chances, and they're basically when you're here on campus doing the normal things one would do for taking courses and then getting involved in faculty's research in whatever role it might be. It might be for an internship over the summer, or it might be some independent study. There are always relationships that we encourage, and they certainly point towards PhD possibilities. But this is not a program that is geared towards putting out PhD people that are headed towards PhDs. But I would say it's not geared towards getting you jobs either. I mean that's not its gear. We support that, and it is part of the objectives. But basically, I would characterize the goal of this project is to put out that picture we showed in the slide earlier of the Rice MECE graduate. And that Rice MECE graduate is a very smart person who has been trained to be in really stellar command of the principles that are central to the activities that we all do in electrical and computer engineering, whether it be done in a company, whether it be done in a research lab, whether it be done in a university, all of those things, and how you apply the skills you gain that we try to get you, what you do as that person that comes out is really up to you. And so I guess I can't answer this question. It's more you answer that question. I'll just make a note that there are a lot of sacrifices one must make to go on a PhD, and that's your decision whether you want to make those sacrifices and things like that. So.
Yeah, so
connections with companies. Joe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Joe, you want to take that?
Yeah, what I've seen happen is, recently I got an email from a recruiter that one of our faculty knows, and they said, "Hey, I'm looking for someone for an internship. Can you recommend someone?" And so I actually I knew one of our master's students was a good fit, and so I forwarded that email to them. And so there are I think those moments where we have relationships with recruiters, and sometimes they contact us and ask for a recommendation. There's also the goal of this competition at the end of the capstone I was talking about is partially to connect you with employers. So, if our panel has people from industry, then that's a direct moment for the industry folks to see what you're working on. And we've seen a similar, system in Dr. Tran's class. He's the one I'm collaborating with on that Class D amplifier. So he actually has people on the panel from NVIDIA, from Dell. And so they actually see the projects that students were working on during his class, which has a graduate level component to it. So those are, yeah.
Yes, no, I'm talking about the connections. As I said before, we have a lot of connections too. So we have students coming to us asking, "Hey, do you know someone from this company, from the other company?" We also, as I told you before, on the Center for Career Development organizes a lot of information sessions through our system that's called Handshake, where companies come and talk to the students about their job opportunities, what they have. So there are a lot of important info sessions that you should attend. And maybe this is not, I don't know, don't know the company. I think you should attend the same, because that can help you build your network. So, and also we do some alumni panels. So you can also connect with alumni working in different places. So Rice, I think it's a small university with a big network. So you have to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. And that's what I was talking about in the beginning, making sure you stay connected once you become a student, because, you're going to have, opportunities coming from a lot of different, places. And so you just have to be sure to keep watching your email and all these different ways we're going to be communicating with you, your student portals and all of these things. And that's going to assist you with landing these type of internships. I mean, we've had students do Amazon and all these places. So, I would say the sky is the limit. And, you also, my slogan is help me help you. So as much as we know about you and what you want to do, or, what direction you're trying to go in from the very start, then that lets us know what type of programming or, who we need to bring in front of you to speak to you, or what kind of opportunities to bring to you. And so if we don't know what it is that you're trying to do, then we don't, I'm not saying we don't know, we'll definitely have things, but it would be much better for us to serve you if we know what it is that you want and what you're trying to do.
There's some good questions that are being put up here. I guess we're coming to an end here, so we probably should make sure we get to these things. This one, I don't know the answer to this, but I can tell you at least what our intentions is. One question says, if we take online lessons at home, can we take part in on-campus internships which doesn't need CPT? I don't have any policy on this, but I would think that that's possible. I know that there were on-campus internships that were engaged by people online, remotely, but I don't want to offer that as an answer to this question that we've given any guarantee. Let me just emphasize that the nature of the on-campus internships that we talked about, or that I talked about earlier, is really part of the kind of the way our family operates. In other words, it's not meant as a guarantee for you. Instead, what it's meant is that whether you're taking courses online or offline, or in person, it's incumbent on you. It's actually your responsibility, and it's in your benefit to get to know your faculty, get to know the person who's teaching. So it's possible, there are always students when I teach, they're possible that somebody just comes and takes notes and leaves. You never know the person's name and things like that. The internships I talked about are not necessarily precluded from those type of people, but generally those type of people are not going to be the first ones that are going to be in a position to take advantage of opportunities that come up. And so if you take an online class, and if in that online class you are actively engaged with your faculty, you impress your faculty, you do well in the class, you're there engaged, you ask about possibilities for research in their lab, you inquire about which of those possibilities can be done online or not. You start maybe offering some to work with them. That type of relationship, I don't see any reason why that couldn't result in a summer internship on campus that doesn't need a CPT. However, don't take that as an assurance for you. I don't want anyone coming later and say, you said that we could do this, when in fact you didn't make any relationship with any faculty. There's nobody's lab that you know anything about. This is not intended as a promise to you. It's intended sort of as a picture of what it means to be part of our family. And given that you participate in our family, I assure you there are faculty and there is research I know of personally that went on completely online, internships this summer that went on completely online. And so that's all I could tell you in answer to that. The other question here that I don't think we really cover is, how many additional courses would a student need to take if they come from a different branch of engineering in their undergraduate study? That's a good question, particularly for those who are coming from a different area. And I don't think I can give a generic answer to that. That's exactly what situation you would be in is going to be something we'll all find out when you talk to your advisor. And that will be either Joe or myself. It's going to have to do with what your undergraduate study was, what your level of mathematical maturity is, what the focus area you're going into is, how much mathematical maturity one needs to work in that area. It has to do with a lot of different things. And I understand that the answer I just gave is not very useful for someone who's considering whether to join our program. So let me just advise for people in this situation, please send me an email or send Joe an email, and let's talk offline before you decide whether to come to Rice. And we can kind of at least start digging up the groundwork to determine just where are we, what sort of investment is it going to take to get up to speed to do the things we want to do.
All right, and it looks like we have one last question here. Take this one and we'll go ahead and wrap up. But it asks, does Rice offer scholarships for our program? Honestly, the answer to that question, we kind of talked about the TA opportunities and that sort of thing. So Joe, you want to kind of touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think the the TA opportunities are going to be the primary opportunity for looking at funding for just broadly for the program. So yeah, there's at this broad level, there's not scholarships.
All righty, so that looks like that wraps up our questions. I'm extremely excited. You all had some wonderful questions, and I want you to know that the conversation definitely isn't over. You know, we've said that a lot this morning, and we truly, truly, truly mean it. If you've already asked me questions via email, as you can see, I try to get to you as quickly as I can so that we can try to address whatever it is that you need. So please reach out to Dr. Young, Dr. Orchard. You can also reach out to Ms. Augustina, to myself again, and just let us know what you're thinking, what you need. You know, just it could be anything. Trust me, I've worked in this a long time. You probably can't surprise me at this point with your question. So just let us know what it is that we can do for you. We will have more events coming as the next few weeks pass here. And again, just like we did today, I'll be sending you an email and letting you know how you can connect with us. So yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you all today. I look forward to getting to know you more. If you've already accepted your admissions, hey, you're part of the family. So looking forward to working with you and getting you all set up and ready. Does anybody else want to say anything?
It was nice getting the opportunity to, I guess I'll say talk to you, but I guess I don't know that this really qualifies as talking, but at least hearing your ideas through the chat or through your questions, and then getting an opportunity to share with you what the Rice family is about.
Yes, and we hope to see you on this beautiful campus in the fall.
Yeah, thank you for engaging.
And also follow us on social media. Follow us on social media. Our department is Rice Electrical and Computer Engineering. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, all the big platforms. So look for us. And then Tina, you guys are on there as well.
Yes, and you can take a website. I will put our website also on the chat for you to see. But yes, follow us on social media, both the department and our office, so you can see which events are going on and so you can learn more about it.
Thank you all for joining. It was wonderful getting to hear your questions.
Thank y'all so much. Good. Have a great rest of the morning. If you're going to sleep, have a good night's sleep, and we'll be talking to you soon.